G'day guys and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something that I don't typically like to talk about. However, I think it's a pretty good discussion point in the community and something that doesn't get talked about at all. And it sort of makes you wonder as to why something like this doesn't get talked about, because I don't know, I think it's a pretty big thing, especially with sort of what I've found. We're going to talk about that, and I hope to have a pretty good discussion down below in the comments about what you guys think as well, and whether or not you guys think it's fair. But before we crack into that, just a little bit of news before we do move into today's topic. So some good news on the upgraded Y62 front, as in the 2024 Y62s. So that new head unit does have all the options in there for all the different cameras, which sort of supports a lot of what I've been talking about. If the head unit has all the different options for the different cameras, then surely the head unit itself is capable of taking multiple inputs, being able to display all them cameras, which is an awesome thing. So if you do own a 2024 Y62, don't be too disheartened that you've missed out on a 360-degree camera, because it would seem that the head unit can definitely support it, and I would definitely say that all the wiring loom for the cameras is still in the car, which is really good. So all that would really need to change is someone would have to develop some good high definition cameras, and then obviously just get the mounts for the cameras. So obviously changing the front grille to be able to support that camera in the front, as well as probably just the mirror trim to the older style mirror trim with the actual camera locations in the mirrors. And then, yeah, plug them in and away you go. Now, obviously there's probably a little bit more mucking around in it than that. Perhaps the software of the head unit might need to be changed, I'm not sure, but it would seem that it is certainly doable. There's plenty of sort of options in those settings. I'll put a photo up so you can see what I'm talking about. So perhaps you might even be able to run a your caravan cameras as well through the infotainment system. Now, somebody obviously needs to come up with how to do that and how to get it all to work nicely together. But I'm sure somebody out there will be, getting that sorted out, because it's a massive hole in the market that someone can fill and someone can make a heap of money from. So I think it'd be a really great idea. I'd love to do it, but unless someone's going to sponsor me, 100 grand to go and buy a new Patrol and figure it all out, it's not going to happen. I'm talking about it a lot because I'd like to see it happen, because I don't see why it wouldn't happen, why it shouldn't. Some people have also reported that their new head units have just gone blank on them, not responding, these sort of things, which is a bit disappointing, of course. However, because it is an OEM part, you obviously have warranty on it, so it goes back to Nissan and they'll get it sorted out for you, which is really good, because obviously if you buy a aftermarket head unit and something like that happens, unless you have good after-sales support from where you've bought it from, you're going to be stuck with trying to figure that out for yourself, and hopefully bringing it back to life. Now, on to today's main topic. Like I said, it's not really something that I typically like to get into, just because I don't care for the drama and the crap that comes along with this sort of a thing. However, when it's at the benefit of the community and something everyone seems to be blinded by and not talking about, I definitely want to raise it and use it as a bit of a discussion point, because I think it's very important, especially in today's climate where, a majority of people are really feeling the pinch with just how expensive everything is these days, and that's accessory fit outs. Now, there's a lot of companies that offer just packages that you can drive in, drive out, and your car is fully kitted out with everything that you'll ever need, and away you go. Now, there's a couple of benefits to obviously doing something like that. One, you would think that you'd save money by doing it. Not true. It's obviously the ease of it. I mean, you drive in, you drive out, your car's done, and you've got nothing to worry about. It's all been done by professionals. Everything should be 100% perfect. Now, of course, like I always say, if you don't have the experience all the time, all the tooling, all the space to install your modifications yourself, then fair enough, take it to somebody and get it done professionally. Obviously, they've got plenty of experience, and if they make a mistake, it'll be fixed, and it won't have to come off your back. Prime example is my snorkel. That template that they originally had was not up to scratch, and unfortunately it's, going to mean I'm going to have to redo that whole guard. So I'm going to have to buy a new guard, and with the new template that they've given me, I'm going to have to redo it and have it all sitting nice, because it just doesn't sit as good as it probably should on the car, and I'm not 100% happy with it. So there's things like that that are certainly a benefit from taking it somewhere and doing it. This channel is all about DIY and doing things yourself and learning how to do things yourself and making these mistakes, or at least me making these mistakes, and allowing you guys to see, what the mistakes are and learning from them. Because I think having this knowledge of how to work on your own car and how to do things yourself and how to fix things and how to do things, when you're not near a mechanic and that sort of thing, is really important, and it's sort of a bit of a dying art. Now, there is a lot of people that do stuff on their Y62s themselves, and a lot of people do some pretty crazy stuff to them, and it's really great to see. But there needs to be more of it. In the GQ, GU community, just about everyone works on their cars themselves. They seem to be a very, very handy bunch, and can do that sort of thing. Of course, the Y62 is a completely different sort of market. So, there's some differences there, but it'd be really good if just everyone had sort of a basic understanding of how to do things on their car. And when they go away on trips and stuff, they don't have to worry so much if something does go wrong. Because, hopefully they can just sort it out themselves, which is super important. I was looking for something for the car, and anyway, ran into a couple of websites for some companies that offer these packages. I was looking through them, and I was thinking, geez, are these prices right? Like, these prices seem very high for, what you're getting here. This seems very ridiculous. So anyway, I sort of thought, that's a bit strange, and moved on. But it was still in the back of my mind. So I went back to that website and I priced up everything that they sort of included in one of their packages. I think it was, 60 or 70 grand or something like that. I priced it all up, and some of the parts or some of the accessories that they were using, I upgraded to accessories that I would use, that are, what I would consider a bit higher quality, and a bit better. So even with doing that, there was a $20,000 discrepancy in the price that they had on the website. And of course, in that would be labour to fit. And it was sort of a little bit confusing, because it seemed as though this was to get it shipped to you rather than to have it fitted. There was no, it's going to be $70,000 fitted. It was nothing like that. It's just like, here, you can buy the package and, you can fit it yourself, sort of thing. And the price just didn't add up. So I was really confused. So unless that's with labour, and even with labour, it wouldn't be 20 grand's worth of labour. You'd maybe be, if it's in there for a couple of weeks, you're probably looking at maybe 8 grand's worth of labour, like sort of, on the high end. So it just really didn't make any sense. So the real crux of what I'm trying to get at is, do your research into this stuff before you go and do it. If it's 70 grand with labour, well, it's a little bit more understandable. But if it's just that for the kit itself, like their whole package, and there's no labour included in that, of course freight's going to be pretty expensive because they're shipping you a lot of stuff. Even saying that, 20 grand's worth of shipping, So I was just, very confused about that. And it's something that I really wanted to bring to the attention of the community, because if you are going to spend, 90 grand or whatever it is on a patrol these days, and then you're going to go to one of these places and get all that stuff fitted. Well, if the package is 70 and then you've got to spend another 10 grand on labour and, workshop costs and all that sort of stuff, then, your car, your total value of your car is now getting close to $200,000, which is just crazy. I mean, I fitted the bull bar myself, and it actually looks better than some of the professionals who are that fit the Razzler bars. Now, a lot of people will put these bars up and say, oh, I've had it, installed at X, Y, and Z, and look at the gaps. The gaps on my bar and how it's actually sitting, and it follows the light nicely and then goes down into the guard perfectly nice. It looks great, especially compared to, some of these other installs that I've seen. The gap on both sides is fairly even. It fits nice and close to the car. It doesn't rub on anything. There's no actual issues with how it looks. So sometimes it is sort of better to do it yourself, because if you did it yourself, you'd know how to adjust the wings to sit them correctly and find the right gap. But if somebody else has done it, and you either don't have a good understanding of how it all works, or if you don't have the time or the tooling to do it, well, then I can understand going to someone and getting it done, and obviously taking it back to them if it's not right, which is what you should do if anything any work that you get done isn't right, is take it back to whoever did it. So just let's put it into perspective a bit. So my car is pretty much the touring and towing package that a majority of Y62 owners are going to do. They're going to do an exhaust, they're going to do wheels and tyres, they're most likely going to do a lift, or at least some heavier duty suspension with airbags. They're most likely going to put a bull bar on it, they're most likely going to put a roof rack and drawers in the back. And some people like to do a rear bar. Mine still isn't here after bloody 8 months of waiting, but anyway. That's sort of about all that they're going to do. Obviously, with the drawers comes a 12-volt system, but, from a majority of people who want to get out and do some things, go forward driving and camping and tow the van, that sort of thing, then they're most likely going to do a setup that's very similar to this. Of course, add the snorkel as well. I did a bit of a rough calculation a little while ago about everything that I've done to the car, the sliders and everything that's on the car, and it would have come in close to $30,000. Now, that's a lot of money to spend on a car. Obviously, I did a majority of stuff myself, bar the suspension, but everything else I did myself. Where's just the extra cost? And of course, I couldn't get any of this stuff locally. It all had to be shipped, so there's freight involved in that cost as well. So why does it cost $60,000-$70,000 for all of that? I don't understand. Now, if there's labour involved, I don't know. I think they'd probably have accessory fitters there as well as mechanics, I'm sure, because a lot of these sort of companies do mechanical work as well. They're probably on $100 to maybe $140 an hour, something like that. A good qualified mechanic or fitter. So, for a good couple of weeks, if you're, I highly doubt they'd be spending 8 hours a day on one car, because I'm sure they've probably got multiple to do. But maybe you spend 4 hours a day on the car, just doing a bit here and there. It takes you about 2 weeks. There's $400 a day times 5, there's $2,000. And over 10 days, it's only $4,000. Now, of course, there might be multiple people working on the car. And of course, the business has got a lot of overheads and that sort of thing. And, there's extra costs and stuff involved in that. So it can add up quickly, but I don't think it adds up to $20,000. Now that's just a rough sort of figure that we're working off here. It was more than that, but we'll work off 20 grand. Now, I'm in no means saying that a business shouldn't be making money. Of course, a business should be making money because that's how they survive. That's how they exist. If they didn't make money, they wouldn't be in business. So, of course, they need to charge a cost that they're going to make money on. Because they do this sort of stuff all the time, they're contacting manufacturers and they're building good relationships and stuff. Of course, if they order in bulk, they're going to get a discount on that. So there'll be a discount on everything that they order in, and which means that, you know, they're saving a bit of money. But, you know, the manufacturer is still making money. So, you know, everyone's sort of winning there. Now, of course, they're not going to be passing that savings on to the customer. They're going to be charging full price of whatever the bar is, because, you know, that's sort of the way it goes most of the time. Before you go and do anything, just research before you go and buy anything or get anything fitted up. Get quotes and, you know, just shop around a bit, because I can't understand it. You know, some of these companies are offering packages that are $90,000. That's crazy. Unless that's for, you know, full kit out like what I've done, plus supercharger, plus, you know, billet, everything that you can upgrade suspension wise, you know, maybe tuning it as well as a gearbox tune, you know, all them sort of things, you know, best of the best of everything that you can get, you know, then maybe I can see how that is feasible. But yeah, it's just crazy. Now, in my cost of 30 grand was also doing all the chrome delete and stuff, as well as the wood grain. And, you know, in some of their packages, it's not even offered. So, especially when it's, these companies are charging 5 grand to do it, you know, it just blows my mind. Now, I suppose the thing is that they can sort of get away with that because there's just no competition in the Y62 market. There is like no competition. Yes, of course, there's all these companies, however, they don't seem to be, you know, really doing a lot of competition within themselves. Of course, some companies will be cheaper than others, but something I will say is a majority of them do really good quality work. From everything that I've seen from, you know, all the different companies that do stuff on Y62s is it's always really good quality work. Now, there'll be a lot of smaller companies that'll be hidden just because, you know, they're either not as popular or, you know, they're not advertising as much. But try and find these smaller companies that still do good quality work, because you're supporting, you know, a good small business that's doing good quality work, and they're going to be cheaper than these bigger companies. So just look around before you start committing to anything. Now, the reason I'm sort of saying all this is there's predominantly a lot of newer patrol owners watching my videos, or people who aren't really in the social media world that are sort of seeing all this sort of stuff. So I sort of really do want to get it out there so people can, you know, stop and think before they start doing these things. And I'm not saying don't go to these companies and get this stuff done, because of course it's your choice and they are doing good quality work. It's just the fact that it doesn't seem morally right for me to sort of be charging, you know, such a huge amount of money when, you know, these people could buy all this stuff themselves and do it themselves, or, you know, buy it all themselves and, you know, get another shop to fit all this stuff up at a significantly lower cost. Now, a really good example of that is the opposite lock here in Townsville. When I was sort of quoting around to get my suspension done, they were about 2.5 grand or something for a whole suspension package. I knew of Rowan at RDT Mechanical. I'd been talking to him before and I knew what his price was to fit up my suspension. So I just wanted to get a quote from Opposite Lock and to see what they would cost. So by going to Rowan, I saved myself, you know, it's probably $400 or $500. It's not like I skimped out on quality either. Rowan is an excellent mechanic and he works on these things every single day. So he knows all the little ins and outs and tricks and tips. And when I picked up the car, you could really just tell, you know, the knowledge that he has of these cars. And he's done a really great job of this. Everything works 100% as it is, rides better than factory, airbags are in, they're not leaking, you know, everything 100% Mickey Mouse. And that's sort of what I'm saying is you know, these smaller shops really do pride themselves in their workmanship and their knowledge. Whereas these bigger shops, they're just pumping out cars, pumping them out. And, you know, whilst they do have, you know, a decent amount of knowledge, you know, that personal experience and that, you know, that level of care isn't there as much as what it is in a smaller company. And, you know, I think a majority of us have seen or heard stories of people that have, you know, gotten some work done from a bigger company, and, you know, later on they'll find damage to their car, and it can be quite a nightmare and a challenge to get that company to own up to that damage and get it fixed, or, you know, a mistake that's made or whatever. You know, some companies will deny responsibility and make it really difficult for you to get repairs or whatever the case may be. Now, take my windscreen for example. It's a prime example of what I'm talking about. Went in there to get a windscreen replaced, and all my trim was ruined. Clips missing, poor quality workmanship, car was filthy on the inside. Just a real mess of a job. And this is a massive company. O'Brien is everywhere across Australia. And, you know, they're doing this sort of workmanship to a, you know, $90,000 car. It's not acceptable. And again, trying to get them to admit liability and to fix their mistakes was a drawn out process that probably lasted a good week or so. So yeah, it's just stuff like that can happen that really does turn you off going places and getting things done by other people, because, you know, some people don't have a care, or, you know, have that either have the experience, or, you know, just, yeah, make mistakes and don't own up to it. So the message I'm really trying to get across is just do your research, be careful where you go, and make sure you're not getting ripped off. If you can, you know, do things yourself, just do them yourself. You know, if you've got a trip that's coming up that you've been planning for a while, if you can, just push it back a little bit so you can, you know, get stuff fitted up yourself, or take it to a different place, you know, or wait for better quality parts to come in, because, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to save yourself money and most likely heartache in the long run. So if you are considering getting some work done to your Patrol, just, yeah, have a good suss before you go and do stuff. Don't jump into it without doing some proper good research. I know a majority of people will do it, but you just have to be careful and just have to make sure. Now let me know down below, is this something you've experienced before, that you've identified as well? Do you think that I'm just talking a load of crap? I'd be interested to see what you all think. So put it down in the comments below. You know, let's have a bit of a discussion about it, and you know, see if the prices these companies are charging are actually fair. I don't know everything, so perhaps, you know, somebody might have a bit more knowledge in this sort of thing than I do. Like I said, I'm not against companies making money. However, you know, let's be fair about it. So you make some money, but I'm not spending a whole nother Patrol's worth of money on my Patrol just to have it ready for a trip that I'm going to do once. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I know this has been a bit of a long video, so if you have stuck around to the end, it's much appreciated. If you are new around here, I do plenty of stuff like this, as well as a lot of DIY stuff on the Patrol. So if you are interested in that, please do subscribe, like, and stay safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next video.